Well, hello there. Happy Friday. This could be a very noisy Friday because I've got the two dogs. The family's gone away to a concert somewhere up in Carlisle, and I'm left with Rosie, who's on a bark fest. So even though I've turned notifications off on my phone, so you shouldn't be hearing the beepity beep bit except when 28 minutes has gone by, but you'll probably hear frantic barking, so I do apologise. So if you're of the nervous disposition, you may wish to turn your volume down because I cannot guarantee that she will not start barking. Well, it's quite late in the day. I've got absolutely nothing to show you because I can't crochet. I'm so muffin, as they say. I've got, oh, she's off already. I've got a new brace to wear on my wrist. It's got the metal bar down it. And it's got all the Velcro fastenings. That's the hole for your thumb. But I'm not supposed to wear it all through the day. But I wear it at night. I've just got a normal wrist splint on. But I cannot feel my finger ends. They're absolutely numb. So as I tension my yarn with my left hand, and I also have this sort of weird action like that when I'm crocheting, it's not doing my hand any good. I may actually try to do a little bit of knitting, but maybe just start a little baby thing or something tiny. Maybe I can manage that because crocheting seems to be out. I've tried, but as I'm crocheting black, which doesn't help, does it? I started one pattern and couldn't see it because it was like round the posts, so I stopped doing that, so I started doing a shell pattern. And then I realised that I was using the same chain that I'd used for around the other one. So of course this isn't big enough. So it will be getting undone again. But like I said, as I can't really crochet at the moment, that is just going in there. I haven't done any more of the sleeves of the multicoloured cardigan because same reason, can't crochet. So it's just driving me potty, absolutely potty. So I dyed my hair this morning. I bleached it, but I didn't do the roots very well, so they're still showing dark. But I felt like I was doing something. At least I got rid of the dark bits underneath there, yeah. But my hair is the despair of me. It's falling out in handfuls. It's because I over-bleach. But if I could go white-grey overnight, I would be happy. But I don't like that. Sorry if you're salt and pepper grey. Maybe you like yours, but I don't want the growing out bit, If I could, like, say, overnight, I'll go silver grey. But sadly, that is not going to happen. My mum had the most gorgeous colour of hair. Beautiful colour. Loads of hair. I got Dad's hair. Talking about my daddy, it's his birthday. Well, it would have been his birthday today. He would be 113. Or is it 112? No, 113 he would have been today. Yeah, happy birthday, Daddy. I'm a daddy's girl, if you probably gathered. I sort of mention him far more than I mention my mum, don't. But he was such a funny guy. When I say funny, I don't mean funny peculiar. I mean funny ha-ha, yeah. But he had a natural unconscious humour. He would come out with something that would have you falling about laughing, but it wasn't contrived, if you know what I mean. He just naturally had repartee, they call it. You'd say something and in a heartbeat he would come back with something. So it wasn't that he had to sit and think, he just used to come out with it. And he would have everybody rolling on the floor laughing because he was just so funny. He didn't tell jokes. He never told jokes. It was just, he was more of an everyday repartee type of person. He would recount things that had happened in his past. but always with a funny twist. You know, he didn't mind if the joke was on him, yeah. He didn't mind that at all, yeah. Often when he told a story, it would be funny against himself, yeah, if you know what I'm saying. And I would like to think that I've inherited his sense of humour. My poor mum had no sense of humour at all. We'd watch something on the TV, my dad and I, and we'd be falling about laughing. And she would say, I don't get it, John. What's funny about it? And if you've ever tried to explain a joke to somebody with no sense of humour, it don't work, does it? And she'd still be there with a puzzled look on her face saying, I still don't get it, John. I still don't get it. That would make us laugh even more. And then she'd get cross. She'd get quite cross. You two, she'd be. But we had this similar sense of humour. You know, if we went anywhere on a car journey together, me and my dad, you know, it would be, he would find something as we were driving along and he'd say, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. We'd be laughing and laughing. Oh, talking about look at that. My friend and I went to, well, my friends and I went to the cafe yesterday. We went to the fish and chip cafe, but we ordered a taxi because the scooter and I are having a falling out because my tyres are shredded. They're solid tyres. And because of the state of the roads around Fleetwood, they are shredded. There was another article on our local Facebook page about the similar sort of thing, about the pavements and the roads being potholes like you could go to Australia in, you know. It was terrible round here, absolutely awful. I lived 15 years with a scooter in Manchester. I lived longer than that in Manchester, but 15 years of it I had a scooter. Not one tyre burst, not one tyre worn out, not even tread worn off one tyre. Nothing at all. And I had 4 scooters, or is it 5 all in all, during that length of time. Not a thing. This scooter I've had just 12 months because it's due for its MOT, if you know what I mean. I've had 3 ordinary tyres put on the front. You know, one on each side and then a spare on one side. And I've had 2 solid tyres put on. So I've had 5 tyres in this 12 months I've had the scooter. So I rang him up, you know, because it's due its MOT, it's due its overhaul and everything. I rang him up, I said, something's going on here, something's going wrong. You know, maybe it's tracking, maybe it's something. I said, it can't be just the state of the roads. But they're absolutely down to the canvas, these solid tyres, and they're shredded. So I'm a bit wary about using the scooter at the minute. He did say he would try and sort it out for me, but he'll have to order these solid tyres because it's not ones that they keep in on a general basis at the, you know, mobility place. It's not one they normally keep. They're going to have to order them for me, yeah. Anyway, getting back to my original story as I get sidetracked. But I thought I'd better explain about the scooter and why I wasn't using it yesterday. We went to Ferry Cafe, which has lovely fish and chips if ever you come to Fleetwood. I had a breakfast, but that's just my choice because I hadn't had any breakfast. So I had a lovely breakfast. You know, sausage, egg, bacon, hash browns, piece of toast. What else did I have? Baked beans and tinned tomatoes. Yeah. So that was a small breakfast. I wouldn't have liked to have seen the big breakfast. I think you had 2 sausages, 2 bits of bacon. You know, it would have been far too much for me to eat, yeah. Anyway, it was raining anyway, so, you know, my friend doesn't have a top on her scooter, so she wouldn't have wanted to go in the rain anyway. But we're sitting there, and we heard this noise coming in. Really loud, you know. Turned around, and it was a he. He was dressed in a full-length cape with a coloured lining, coloured satin lining, and a witch's hat, a big witch's pointy hat. And you know when you're trying not to stare, you're trying not to stare, and we're sort of going, because I had my back to him, so I didn't like spinning round and staring, but I just had to. And it was like a whirly, sort of whirly hat. It wasn't like a straight up hat. It went round in like a circle. Oh, weird man. Weird. And he had a assistance dog with him that insisted on barking at everything and everybody. So some assistance dog that was, yeah. But oh my goodness me, I thought we do see some sights. Yes, my dad would say, the sights you see when you don't have your gun. Yeah, not that he ever had a gun, but that was one of his sayings. Oh, the sights you see when you don't have your gun. It was usually aimed at somebody wearing something totally inappropriate when we were going past anyway, yeah. I'm a bit like that with these big fur eyelashes, you know, and the big pneumatic lips. I'm a bit like that. I'm like, oh my goodness me, when you can't help but stare. But I can understand if you were staring at them in a sort of, doesn't she look gorgeous sort of way. But when you're staring at them thinking, what are they thinking about? You know, what? I can understand in a way, although I would never do it, understand in a way why somebody has, you know, their upper lip maybe a little bit enhanced if they've got very thin lips, but not blown up, you know, like that. You know, I mean, at one time I think people used to just have a tiny little bit of filler put in, didn't they? Just to fill in if they had very thin lips. That I can understand. I can even understand fake eyelashes. Although I can never get them to stay. I did try when I was much younger, of course, when it was all the fashion. You know, when we were talking Twiggy era, you know, and all that, when she had the painted little eyelashes underneath her eyes, yeah. And she had the fake lashes. I did try the fake lashes. It took me ages to actually get them in the right place, you know, to actually glue them in the right place. And then I was sort of walking around with my eyes half shut because I felt like they were weighing my eyelids down. And then inevitably one would come unglued at the corner, you know, and your mate would say, psst, psst, your eyelash is coming off, psst, glue your eyelash back on. And you're like, trying to get your And then, of course, if you got despair and you actually took them off while you were at a dance, you'd then get this glue line where you'd taken them off, so you looked even more stupid, you know. So after a while, I decided that fake eyelashes were just not for me. I mean, they've probably improved leaps and bounds by now, but I've never actually tried them again. I don't think I'd get them glued in the right places. They look, well, they have to look fake. That's what the fashion is, isn't it? These big fur things. I think they call them Russian lashes, don't they? They look like you've got somebody's dead cat tail sat on each eyelid, don't they? You know, like, I couldn't do that, no. I'd like to have thicker lashes, but I've never had them. I've always had skimpy little lashes. And the bottom lashes have completely disappeared altogether, almost, you know. Oh, it's the joys of growing old, isn't it? It stops growing where it should grow, and it starts growing on your lip and your chin. Although I'm not doing too bad at the moment, actually. I'm not doing too bad for the big black whiskers, you know. The ones that sprout overnight and come out about an inch long. And you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror, you go, my God, where did that one come from? Where's my tweezers? Quick. Or you get the one long curly one on your chin and you think, where on earth did that come from? It wasn't there yesterday, I swear it wasn't. I wish the hair on my head would grow as quickly or as thickly. Could I have a transplant, you know, again? Well, I don't think I'd want grey wiry grey wiry hairs coming out of my head. No. Leave it at that, yeah. Yeah. Well, I have bit the bullet and I have ordered myself a couple of wigs. Whether I will wear them or not, I don't know. You may have a look at me video, don't I look silly video. I did have lots and lots of wigs when I had Paris, the mannequin. She used to change regularly from being a brunette to a redhead to a blonde. But when I sold her, I gave away all the wigs with her as well. But they weren't exactly what I call good wigs, yeah. Excuse me. One of them or two of them were like mannequin wigs. When I say mannequin wigs, they've got like a solid base. They're not like flexible that you would wear on your human head. We did try them on. I mean, Sue and I had an hysterical afternoon one day trying them all on. I mean, one of them was a long dark brown wig. It didn't suit either of us, that's all I will say. Sadly, we didn't take any photographs and we didn't do a video of that occasion. But I had a grey-haired one as well. I looked like my granny. It was a grey curly wig. I just looked like my granny. Yeah, it was a bit like, if you watch Call the Midwives, you know, the one who has the curly perm. It looked a bit like that. So, anyway, I've ordered a short blonde one and a long blonde one. So, watch this space and be prepared to have a giggle, yeah? I'm being prepared for when it all falls out altogether because it's on that way. It's going thinner and thinner and thinner. I mean, I've barely got enough to make a top knot now. It's a bit of a struggle, yeah. So, yeah. So they've gone away to, I think it's a rock concert, I'm not sure what they've gone to see. It's usually rock, if it's my son and daughter-in-law, because they're still, well, young enough to like rock and roll and that sort of stuff. When I say rock and roll, it's not rock and roll like Elvis or anything like that. It's more like heavy metal rock and roll that they usually go to see. They haven't gone in the camper van this time, actually, because they couldn't find a place to park. So they've actually booked in a bed and breakfast, so they've taken the car. So I've got the girls. At the moment they're asleep on the sofa. That won't last. You know that when she spots a car, she'll be off on one. And I can't put a mute on her. I've muted my phone. As you notice, there's been no diddly-dees. So I've muted that. And now my internet is going up the wall, so I hope I can do the live tomorrow. It keeps cutting off. And every time it cuts off, it just cuts me off the live and it doesn't return me to the live. I have to start all over again. Yeah. I can't get messages on my phone half of the time. I don't know what's happening. It's something to do with Messenger. They asked me did I want to encrypt my messages by putting in a number, and I just didn't bother. And because I didn't put this number in, which I would have had to put in every time I wanted a message, which infuriates me. You know, when you have to put a password in every time you want to go into something, it really infuriates me. I can understand it when it's bank details, something like that, that's important. But when it's just your messages on Facebook, you know, I don't write anything that nobody else can see. You know, I'm not a person that has those kind of conversations that the rest of the family couldn't see. You know what I mean? So it would infuriate me if I had to keep putting this blooming number in, so I didn't bother. And now because I didn't bother, half of the messages I can get on my computer, can't get on my phone. So if somebody sends me a message on Messenger on Facebook while I'm out, I can't read it. I asked my friend Sarah, who's quite good with things like that, to have a look at it. And she got rid of my cash, whatever a cash is. I don't mean cash as in money. A cash as in a C-A-C-H-E, cash, that kind of cash. And it did work for a minute, but then it stopped again. And oh God. But now I can't go back and put this number in that I didn't put in the first place because it's not letting me do that. Because I'd said no at the time instead of saying yes. But I don't like adding things to my phone. You know, when they say, do you want to do this? Or do you want to update this? Do you want to do that? I'm always wary of saying yes. Because then they upload all kinds of drivel on your phone. And then ages after, my son would say, why have you uploaded this, Mother? Because you don't want it on your phone. And I'm going, I didn't. And he's going, you must have said yes to something when you should have said no. So, of course, when this came up, I thought, I don't want a number. I don't want to have to put that number in. So I said no. And now, the messenger on my phone is up the wall. It's fun, isn't it, when you don't know technology? I bet some of you are whizzes now that you can do everything. My phone does not do anything except, it gives me messages. I can view YouTube on it. I can look at Instagram on it, and that's about it. It doesn't have one of those things that you can beep, when you see a little square and it says beep on this thing. No, I don't have that at all. Because my son said, of course you do, of course you do. No, I don't have that. I don't want that. I've got what they call an analog phone. I don't have a singing, dancing, Apple type phone. I don't want one. I haven't got that kind of money to spend hundreds of pounds on a phone. It amazes me when you go in these phone shops and you see them and they look just like my phone. Obviously they're not. But they're like 600, 800, £1,000, and I'm like, what? For a phone? I tell you, nobody'd want to steal mine. They wouldn't get tuppence for it on the open market, but that suits me fine. Imagine if you had all your world on your phone, your banking details, your other kind of details, and you lost it. I mean, at least if I lose mine, people might be able to read my messenger or my Facebook, and that'd be terribly exciting for them, won't it? Because my life's so exciting, isn't it? But they wouldn't get my bank details because they're not on here. They wouldn't get any other kind of details, my card details or anything, because I don't pay by my phone. So they'd be very disappointed if they got my phone. I think it cost me about £100 actually, which I thought was a heck of a lot at the time. But, and the other phone I had before that, I must have had it for about 6 years. And I only got rid of it because it started acting up, because the battery started overheating and it wouldn't keep its charge, and every time I picked it up it was red hot. And that was the only reason why I got rid of that one. I discovered that to buy a new battery and that would have cost as much to buy a new phone, so we went and got a new phone. And my son said, oh, look at this one, look at this one. I'm going, no. Just the basic one at this end will do for me. We don't have to go up the scale. I don't want one that sings, dances and makes a cup of tea. I don't want one of them. They drag me screaming and kicking and spluttering into this century, As you know, I can't do a web page. I would love a web page, can't do it. Everybody I speak to, about it, they either want to make me one for hundreds and hundreds of pounds. And every time I make a video mentioning it, I get somebody in Pakistan sends me a message saying, I can make you a web page. Yes, and how much and what good would it be to me if you're in Pakistan and I want to know something about my web page, if I want to ask you a question, which no doubt I would, because as you know, not got the brain power. And every time I ask anybody else, they'll go, oh, it's dead easy, you can make it yourself. People are always saying, oh, go on this Squarespace or whatever it is, make it yourself. I've tried. I don't get past first base. As soon as it starts asking me questions, I'm like, no, don't understand. Me no understanding, no. So I think the web page is out the window. I don't know anybody's young teenage son who's a whiz, that would do one for me for some remuneration, but not 600, £1,000, you know what I mean? I only want to sell a few things. I haven't got that kind of money. I haven't got a shop. I suppose it's worth it if you're in business and you're young and you've got a shop and you're selling things on a regular basis. I think it would be worth it then, wouldn't it? People have said go on Vinted. That doesn't work. People have said eBay. That doesn't work at all. Etsy, my feelings on Etsy. We're not going to go there. But they were making more profit out of me than I was for doing the crochet. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going down that line again. There's loads of people with loads of videos on YouTube rambling on about the do's and don'ts for Etsy. How people make a profit with anything from Etsy, I don't know. they must charge about 3 times as much for the product as it's actually cost them to make. And then they don't mind giving 1/3 of that profit to Etsy, yeah. And then they get 2/3. But because I don't charge an awful lot because of the postage costs to America and that, yeah, I make nothing, you see, because by the time I pay their fees, their whatnots, their hidden costs, whatever they tell you on the site doesn't work. There's this hidden cost and that hidden cost. And then they charge you for having advertised your product, which they don't do, by the way. So, no, I've gone right off that. eBay is good if I'm selling yarn at half price. eBay is good if I'm selling my dresses at a fraction of the price that I've paid for. 20 quid dress, £4.99, yeah. It's good for that, good for that. Sold quite a few of my dresses at £4.99, £20 dresses, or more, £40 dresses, £4.99. Sold a lot of them, yeah. But, oh dear. Anyway, I'm just waffling on out because I've got nothing to tell you, nothing to say. I'm in the middle of reading a Mary Quant book, and all I can say is she had a lot of. I think I must have been hidden under a mushroom when I was growing up. When I read stories of people who like leave home at 16 and go and live in places where, you know, I couldn't have lived like that, you know, out of a suitcase. Living in one room, living in the squats, living in whatever. I think I was ruined and spoiled. I needed my creature comforts, you know. I would have never dreamt of leaving home. I just liked the cushiness of being at home and being sheltered by my parents and that. I never had this burning ambition to launch myself off into the world. I suppose maybe if you're unhappy at home, you want to get out of it. Or if your parents are very restrictive and you're not allowed to do anything. I mean, my parents were strict in a way. Obviously there were boundaries, you know. There's got to be boundaries in any family, hasn't there? But they weren't overly strict. And, you know, I did have a good teenage life, yeah. Yeah, I had to be in by a certain time. Unless they knew where I was and unless they were picking me up from said venue or something like that. But, no, I was quite happy. You know, I can honestly say I wasn't one of these. I can't write my life story saying I had a downtrodden life, I was bullied at school and everything like that. I can't say that. I can't say that at all. Well, that's the only noise you're going to hear because they've been quiet. So I'm going to go now. So thank you for listening to my drivel. Hopefully I might be able to do some knitting or something. Then I have something to show you. Or I could be showing you my wigs. You never know. Bye for now.